Welcome to the Nonprofit Exchange. Stories, tools, and wisdom shared by leaders for leaders to help you raise the bar on your own excellence and release the potential inside of you. Now, here's today's show. This is Hugh Ballou. Welcome to the Nonprofit Exchange. Today's messages are some quotes that stood out to me from a whole bunch of messages on 2025, 50 different guests over the year. So I've extracted about a dozen to 20 messages to share with you today from inspirations that I got from interviewing guests for the Nonprofit Exchange. You can find this show at nonprofitexchange.org, the nonprofitexchange.org. org. So let's get down to it. What inspired me? Well, let me share with you what inspired me. So it's we highlight ideas that move leaders beyond just management into meaningful influence. The following insights I've pulled out of the whole year 2025's episodes, interviews with wonderful, inspiring leaders. These voices reflect diverse leadership contexts, nonprofits, entrepreneurial, servant leadership, transformational leadership, yet each offers a timely reminder of what effective leadership requires in today's world. So let's start with Kevin Wayne Johnson. The title of this episode, just if you want to go find it, is Leadership with a Servant's Heart. And here's what he said. Servant leadership is about aligning the heart and mind. True leadership comes from influence and not authority. It's very much in line with what we teach at Center Vision. It's about influence and not about authority. Who are we? How do we influence people? Positively or negatively, or maybe not at all? It's our choice. This insight reframes leadership as relational. It's a relational act rooted in service rather than in position. This reinforces that trust and influence are the true currencies of leadership. Let's go on to Carter Fox in an episode called The Sound of Strategy, Music Business Lessons. Here's his quote. Whether you're making music or running a nonprofit, planning is the key for success. Strategy is not industry specific. This quote reminds leaders that disciplined planning turns vision into coordinated action. Whoa. Spend time doing your planning. These are all very consistent with what we support here at Center Vision Leadership Foundation. Let's go on to Steve Gendara in an episode called Unlocking Excellence, How Culture Drives Success. Here's Steve's quote. Culture is essentially the beliefs that govern how people behave. This reminds me that leaders shape results by shaping beliefs. Culture is not accidental. It's either designed or neglected. We design it or we don't. Building a strong culture is the anchor for our sustainable enterprise. Dr. Keith Dorsey, wonderful inspirational leader. It's called Charting an Unintentional Path to Corporate Board Service. Here's Keith's quote. Achieving a seat on a corporate board requires intentional preparation and a clear plan. Making the connection between corporate leaders and corporations is really important for nonprofit leaders, and we tend to really not understand that from the corporate standpoint or the nonprofit standpoint. So this one reminds me that leadership advancement happens by design, not by chance. Intentional development expands influence beyond current roles. And here's Terry Modica in an episode titled Reaching Hearts in a Changing World. Here's Terry's quote. While our message remains timeless, our methods must change with the times. Are we still doing things that people did 20, 30, 40 years ago? We're trying to duplicate the past? That's inspired me. Adaptive leadership honors core purpose while embracing innovation and communication and engagement. Move with the times, be relevant with the current culture. And Dr. Wayne Light Brown, he has an acronym LYTE. Leadership from the Inside Out was his episode. Leadership is an inside out journey. If you don't lead yourself, you can't lead others. Whoa, how profound is that? Self-awareness, I learned from this one, self-awareness and personal growth are prerequisites for sustainable leadership impact. We're here for impact, aren't we? We impact people's lives. I get inspired every week. What a great time. So Jeff Schiffreels in a episode called Building a Culture of Generosity. Here is Jeff's quote. Fundraising is not just about the money. It's about building genuine relationships. This perspective restores dignity to fundraising by centering trust, purpose, and partnership. We don't think of it as partnership all too often. Thanks, Jeff, for that inspiration. This is important to remember these themes. And doing this all the time, I even forget. Tom Collins in an episode called Leadership Mastery. Here's Tom's quote. Effective leadership comes down to character, competence, caring, and communication. These four pillars provide a practical framework for leadership excellence across all sectors. Four pillars: character, competence, caring, and communication, the four C's of Steve's presentation. And Dylan Zajac, young fella, computer expert, wow, blew my socks away. His episode is called Sustainable Solutions, Bridging the Digital Divide. Here's Dylan's quote. Every computer we refurbish is a bridge across the digital divide. Digital connects us, but digital can divide us. This is about mission-driven innovation transforms resources into opportunity and access. They refurbish computers and put them in the hands of people who need them. Nathan Walters in an episode called Transformational Mission. Here's Nathan's quote. Real change comes from lasting partnerships, not short-term fixes. So Nathan helped me think of that, remember and realize, whether I did or not, it's good to remember these things as I interview people every week. It reminds me that sustainable impact is built through patience, collaboration, and shared ownership. I get the pleasure of getting inspired by these great people every week. Dr. Rick Rodriguez, his episode, his title is Breaking Barriers, Empowering the Next Generation. Here's Rick's quote. Authentic leadership starts with knowing who you are. It's about identity-grounded leaders who empower others to lead with confidence and authority. We older people empower and influence younger generations. because we've been there and we've learned things, mostly, in my case, mostly from our mistakes, my mistakes. Here's Michael Reddington in an episode with the title of Everyday Confessions, Disciplined Listening. That was a really revealing session for me. Here is Michael's quote: effective communication requires active listening. It reminded me that listening creates clarity, trust, and alignment, which are essential conditions for effective leadership. Listening, very underutilized leadership skill. So that's a great episode to remember. And Dr. Lisa Cooney in a episode titled The Body of Change. Here's Lisa's quote: when you heal and empower yourself, you can lead others from wholeness. Wow. It reminded me that personal well-being directly influences leadership presence and decision making. There are a lot more gems in these episodes. I'm just highlighting a few of them. And then Panjak Singh in a session titled Preventing Burnout Through Mindful Leadership. Nonprofit leaders are givers, and sometimes in excess. His quote is, "You can't pour from an empty cup." Whoa, you don't need many words to communicate a strong message. This reminds me that mindful leadership sustains energy, resilience, and long-term effectiveness. Being mindful means that you replenish yourself, take care of yourself. That's a very powerful episode, as are all of these. And James Meisner, in a session called Transforming Fundraising. Oh, we all talk about fundraising, but we don't want to do it. But James's quote is, "We have to stop begging for donations and start building relationships." Wonderful inspiration. It's about a mindset shift that transforms fundraising into shared missional ownership. Funders are partners. There's a whole connection there to make. It's not about the money. And then Heather Day in a topic of creating a joy-filled culture. A lot of recurring themes here, but each one of these has unique insights to these. We don't know it all. We learn from many others, and there's more than one right answer. There are many answers. So how do we discover our next answer? It's reading, listening. Every one of these has a full transcript on the page. Here's what Heather's quote is: "A joy-filled culture inspires engagement and creativity." Joy is a strategic asset that fuels innovation and commitment. Joyful service is much better than obligatory service. Wonderful inspiration in all of these. That's about, can we be joyful about what we're doing and celebrate? Dr. Pierre Berestein, it's leading beyond the buzzwords was his episode. Here's Pierre's quote: "Real change means listening to the stories of those we serve." And this reminds us about authentic leadership. Authentic leadership centers lived experience rather than abstract language. We center in on our lived experiences. It's not just theory. And then Dr. Giselle Jones, a session titled Engage Your Board in Funds Sourcing. Now, boards aren't fundraisers, but they sure know people, and they know the right people. Here's Giselle's quote. Engage your board and they become your greatest allies. How profound is that? Strategic boards amplify leadership capacity and organizational reach. The board is a great, great resource. And that's it. Here's one more, the episode called From Outcast to Advocate. And I don't have a note about who this is, so you're going to have to go find out. From Outcast to Advocate, life is not a spirit. I'm sorry, life is not a sprint. It's a marathon. Keep running. Oh my. It isn't just the miracle board retreat or the fundraising campaign or the big, big gala. It's a marathon. We're in this for the long run. Leadership endurance is built on perseverance, vision, and long-term commitment. Today's episode is a little bit shorter, but this reminds me of how much value that is created every week when people share from their hearts, their experience, their wisdom on the Nonprofit Exchange. To me, these insights remind me that leadership is not about control or charisma, but about clarity, character, and conscious influence. As listeners to the Nonprofit Exchange, may these voices encourage you to lead with intention, humility, and courage. This is Hugh Ballou, founder and president of Center Vision Leadership Foundation, encouraging you to go to thenonprofitexchange.org. You'll find there an archive with all of these 474 episodes of the Nonprofit Exchange. There's a lot of value in this, and it's created for you. I hope this is a wonderful inspiration and an encouragement to go and discover the best leaders are readers. You read the transcript, but you listen to podcasts. Podcasts are so important. This is my resource gift to you. It's free. So enjoy these, and I would love to hear from you. Just respond to the email or comment on the portal, whether you're looking at this on Facebook, on YouTube, or on our centervisionleadership.org website, which you'll get to if you go to thenonprofitexchange.org. Thank you for listening, and keep listening because there's great episodes yet to come.
Thank you for watching The Nonprofit Exchange.